worth, or 88 tanks, to Ukraine. 124. According to the German government, the tanks will be delivered to Ukraine after training Ukrainian service personnel. This process would take up to 3 months. Some tanks are held by the Bundeswehr, others by the Leopard manufacturer Rheinmetall. The latter has said they could be ready to be dispatched by March 2023. However, they also warned that some vehicles held in long-term storage would require extensive refurbishment and updating before they could be considered suitable for combat in Ukraine. 120, 111. On the 26th of January, Pistols, the German Minister of Defense, stated that the tanks would be delivered in late March or early April. 125. On the 24th of February, 2023, the German Department of Defense confirmed Germany would increase its Leopard 2A6 contribution from 14 to 18, thus providing one full tank battalion. Together with the contributions of Portugal and Sweden. 126. On the 27th of March, 2023, Germany delivered 18 Leopard 2A6 tanks to Ukraine with 2 accompanying armored recovery vehicles and necessary spare parts. 127. On the 28th of March, 2023, the Security Board of the Swiss National Council recommended that 25 Leopard 2 Instrige should be sold to the German manufacturer Krauss Mafia Women so that Germany can replace some of its own tanks now serving in Ukraine. As of this day, Switzerland keeps 96 Leopard 2 in storage. As the tank's sale requires decommissioning, the Bundeswehr waits for approval by the Swiss Parliament. 128. On the 27th of September, 2023, the Swiss Parliament has voted to decommission 25 Leopard 2 tanks, allowing them to be sold back to Germany. Germany has given assurances that ex-Swiss tanks will not be sent to Ukraine. 129. Poland. Poland welcomed the German decision to allow the transfer of Leopard 2 tanks to Ukraine, with the Polish government announcing on the 25th of January it would transfer 14 Leopards to Ukraine from a total Polish stock of 247, in addition to a further 50-60 Soviet-era tanks. 130. On the 24th of February, 2023, the first 4 Leopard 2A4 tanks from Polish stocks were delivered to Ukraine. These are the first Leopard 2 tanks to be operated by Ukraine. 131. Canada. On the 26th of January, 2023, the Canadian Defence Minister, Anita Anand, announced that Canada would be sending 4 Leopard 2A4 tanks to Ukraine, with the potential for more to follow. These vehicles were reportedly combat-ready. Canada will also provide appropriate training to Ukrainian forces who will go on to operate these tanks. 132. The first Canadian Leopard 2 tanks had arrived in Poland on the 5th of February, to allow Ukrainian troops to begin training. 133. On the 24th of February, the Canadian Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau, announced that Canada would be sending a further 4 Leopard 2A4 tanks to Ukraine along with 1 armored recovery vehicle, ARV, and 5,000 rounds of ammunition. 134. Czech Republic. On the 20th of January, 2023, the Czech Defense Ministry issued a statement that the media reports indicating the Czech Republic and Slovakia were willing to give up their Leopard 2 tanks for Ukraine were false, and that rumors that the Czech Republic would receive American Abrams tanks in exchange for Leopards were also false. 135. As of December 2022, both countries had only received 1 Leopard 2A4 each from Rheinmetall as part of Germany's Ringtausch program in exchange for them delivering older Soviet equipment to Ukraine, while the remaining Leopard 2A4s are still being refurbished. expected to be delivered throughout 2023. 136, Denmark. While it was reported in the international press that Denmark had signaled that it could contribute a number of tanks, 137, there was no official indication from the Danish government that any Danish Leopard 2s would be sent to Ukraine. Of the Danish inventory of 44 tanks, 14 were deployed to Estonia as part of NATO-EFP, with a further number receiving upgrades at the German manufacturers. 138. Some Danish opposition politicians voiced support for a transfer of Danish tanks. 139. Unlike those considered by other countries, the Danish Leopards are of the new 2A7 standard, which would represent some logistic and mechanical challenges compared to the other variants. 140. Denmark instead announced on the 7th of February that it was jointly purchasing 100 to 178 Leopard 1A5 tanks with Germany and the Netherlands. 141. Denmark also announced on the 20th of April, 2023 that they would jointly finance with the Netherlands the purchase and refurbishing of 14 Leopard 2A4 for Ukraine from private industry stocks. 142. Finland. Finland had suggested before the German decision on report that it could supply Ukraine with a limited number of Leopard 2 tanks. The Finnish president, Sauli Niinisto, warned that the number of tanks to be sent to Ukraine cannot be large, since Finland borders on Russia and is not part of NATO. 143. On 23 February Finland announced it will give 3 Leopard 2R mine-clearing vehicles to Ukraine. Finnish total stock of this type will return the same, 6, with planned purchase of 3 replacement vehicles from Germany. 144. Greece. On the 25th of January, 2023 it was reported that Greece was one of the countries that had indicated it would supply Leopard 2 tanks to Ukraine. 145. On the 29th of January, 2023 it was erroneously reported that approximately 14 Leopard 2 tanks would be provided, though it was unclear if it would be the 2A4 or 2A6 Hell variant. 146. However, on the 31st of January, Greek Prime Minister Kyriakos Mitsotakis clarified that Greece would not supply any Leopard tanks to Ukraine, arguing they are absolutely necessary for our defense. Posture. 147. Leaked. Pentagon documents revealed that Greece was preparing to donate 5 of its Leopard 2 tanks to Ukraine, though Greek Defense Minister Nikolaos Panayotopoulos reiterated later in April his government's opposition to tank deliveries to Ukraine, making confirmation of the delivery uncertain. 148. Netherlands. The Netherlands was considering Ukrainian requests for Leopard 2 tanks, with Prime Minister Mark Rutte suggesting that the Dutch government could purchase tanks from other countries and donate them. 149. There were also some discussions about Netherlands purchasing the 18 Leopard 2A6 tanks they lease from Germany. No refusal was made from Germany to sell them, as no formal request to buy them was made. Both countries agreed that they were critical to the operations of the joint German-Dutch military unit. However, the Netherlands agreed to supply ammunition for Leopard tanks and announced it had not abandoned its intention to contribute to the tank initiative, while also noting it was helping to purchase Leopard 1A5 tanks with Denmark and Germany. 150. The Netherlands later announced it was jointly financing with Denmark the purchase and refurbishing of 14 Leopard 2A4 for Ukraine from private industry stocks, with delivery expected in early 2024. 151. Norway. On the 25th of January, 2023, Norway pledged to donate spare Leopards to Ukraine, with reports speculating that between 4 and 8 of its 36 Leopard 2A4 tanks would be sent. 137, 152, 153. Norwegian Defence Minister Bjørn Arild Gram said in an interview with Norwegian public television NRK, Norway and the government support the donation of battle tanks to Ukraine. Norway will take part but did not specify how many would be sent. 154. On the 14th of February, 2023, Gram announced that 8 Norwegian Leopard 2 tanks and 4 Leopard 1 derived special purpose vehicles would be handed over to Ukraine. The special purpose vehicles turned out to be a mix of 3 NM189 AEVs and 1 NM217 ARV. 155, 156. In February 2023, Norway ordered 54 Leopard 2A7 tanks, later changed to 2A8 variant, to be delivered from 2026, with a further option for 18 vehicles if necessary. Portugal. When the German government changed its position on the re-import of Leopard 2 tanks, it was reported that the Portuguese government was preparing to send 4 of their Leopard 2A6 tanks to Ukraine. 157. On 4 February, Prime Minister Antonio Costa confirmed that Portugal would send Leopards to Ukraine, but did not confirm the number of vehicles set to be delivered. It is understood that Portugal is working with Germany to obtain the necessary parts to repair inoperable tanks in its inventory of 37 Leopard 2 tanks, but it has been widely reported by local media that most are inoperable. Costa expressed hopes that Portuguese tanks would be delivered by March 2023. 158. On the 14th of February, it was reported that Portugal had earmarked 3 Leopard 2A6 tanks for donation to Ukraine. 123. All 3 were confirmed donated on the 27th of March together with the 18 German Leopard 2A6. 159. Slovakia. On the 25th of January, 2023, Slovakia announced it was not considering the transfer of any of its Leopard 2A4 tanks to Ukraine, but were willing to provide T-72 tanks if other allies replaced them with other tanks. The reason cited for this was that Slovakia had only received one of the 15 Leopard tanks it was promised as part of Germany's Ringtausch program, which it was getting in exchange for supplying Ukraine with 30 Soviet-era infantry fighting vehicles. 160. Spain. On the 4th of June, 2022, it was reported that Spain was considering providing 40 of its 53 retired Leopard 2A4 tanks stored in Zaragoza. 161. On the 8th of June, German Chancellor Olaf Scholz denied receiving any formal request from Spain for an export permit for Leopard 2 tanks to Ukraine. 162. However, it was later confirmed on the 10th of June by the Spanish Defense Minister they were considering the transfer. 163. On 12 June, anonymous government sources told Der Spiegel that the Scholz government blocked any transfer of Leopard tanks to Ukraine, arguing this would constitute a departure from an informal NATO decision not to provide Western tanks at that time. 164. By the 2nd of August, Spain officially backtracked on its decision, arguing the tanks at Zaragoza were in deplorable condition and that it could not send any. 165. The Spanish government was later reported to be considering to send an unconfirmed number of Spanish Leopard 2E tanks to Ukraine in January 2023 following a meeting of the Ukraine Defense Contact Group. 166. On the 14th of February, the Spanish Defense Minister Margarita Robles confirmed Spain was providing training to 55 Ukrainian tank crew members and technicians on the Leopard 2. 167. On 22 February, Robles also confirmed that Spain was in the process of preparing 6 Leopard 2A4 tanks for delivery to Ukraine by late March or early April. 168. On the 5th of February, 2023, it was reported that at least 11 of the 53 tanks stored at Zaragoza had been drawn out of storage to be refurbished and upgraded to have the same lethality as modern versions of the Leopard 2 before being sent to Ukraine. 5 were sent to the Santa Barbara Sistemas plant in Alcala de Guadera and 6 had already been moved to Seville for diagnostics and repairs. The Ministry of Defense had not published the contracts for the retrofits out of secrecy. It was unclear, however, if ammunition would be supplied with the tanks, as Spain only has 9 rounds for each of its Leopard 2E tanks. 169. On the 23rd of February, Spanish Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez confirmed during a visit to Kyiv that Spain was sending at least 10 Leopard 2 tanks to Ukraine. 170. Sweden. Sweden began considering Ukrainian requests for Leopard 2 tanks in January 2023 and did not rule out contributing its STRV-122 at a later stage. 171. On the 24th of February, the Swedish Minister of Defense Pål Jonson announced that Sweden would be providing 10 Leopard 2A5 tanks to Ukraine. 172. Combat history. 4. Starting on the 12th of June, 1999, 28 Leopard 2A5 tanks were deployed to Kosovo by the German army as part of Kosovo Force 4. The vehicles of Panterbattalion 33 and 214 were sent from Macedonia to Prizren. They were used for patrols, protecting checkpoints and bases, as well as part of the show of force. On the 13th of June, 1999, 2 members of the Serbian paramilitary started firing from inside a Fiat 125P car at one of the checkpoints in Prizren, and both were killed by return fire. A Leopard 2A5 was located at the checkpoint, but it could not participate in the fighting as it was only partially crewed. 173. A German Leopard 2A4 being unloaded from a SLT-50 Elephant tank transporter in Kosovo, July 2002. On the 26th of June, 1999, a Leopard 2A5 fired 4 warning shots above the town of Orahovic. 174. From late 2000 to early 2001, the tanks were replaced by the Leopard 2A4 model. Leopard 2A4s were deployed to Macedonia in 2001 as part of the NATO intervention. The tanks served to protect Bundeswehr logistic sites in Macedonia. Until their return in 2004, the Leopard 2 tanks were stationed at the Austrian-Swiss camp Casablanca. 174. IF4/4. The Dutch contingent in Bosnia-Herzegovina operated Leopard 2 tanks. 175. Dutch Leopard 2A4s and Leopard 2A5s were stationed at the NLD bases at Bugajno, Novi Travnik, Sisava, Nezevo Maslover and Suka. IF4/OEF. In October 2003, Canada was planning to replace its Leopard C2S with wheeled Striker mobile gun systems. However, operational experience in Afghanistan and in particular during Operation Medusa convinced the Canadian military of the usefulness of maintaining a tank fleet. 176. Leopard C2S were deployed to Kandahar in December 2006. 177. But they were by then almost 30 years old, and were nearing the end of their operational life. The Canadian government decided to borrow 20 Leopard 2A6s and 3 armored recovery vehicles from Germany for rapid deployment to Afghanistan. In late August 2007, first Leopard 2s were airlifted into Afghanistan to equip Lord Strathcona's Horse, Royal Canadians. 178. In an assault on the 2nd of November 2007, a Leopard 2A6M hit an improvised explosive device, IED, and survived without casualties, My crew stumbled upon an IED, improvised explosive device, and made a story as the first crew to test the Leopard 2A6M packet. It worked as it should, wrote a Canadian officer in an email to German defense officials. 179. Canadian Chief of the Defense Staff